Alright, so what is going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be doing the 10,000 calorie challenge. This is something that I was initially going to do on my channel when I hit 10,000 subscribers. Last week I hit 20,000 subscribers and realized that I didn't ever do that. So I figured now is as good a time as any to do this. So yeah, I basically just got a bunch of junk food and stuff to help me hit the calorie intake. Just for the record, my typical average daily caloric intake is usually around 3,000 calories per day. Will probably be the most I've ever eaten. I feel like after a bodybuilding show, my appetite gets so high that I could probably eat 20,000 calories. But right now it's like pretty standard, so this actually is going to be a decent challenge for me. What I plan to do is throughout the video, I'm going to overlay the clips of me eating and stuff with some informative content about nutrient absorption, partitioning of nutrients, questions that I've kind of gotten myself surrounding the 10,000 calorie challenge. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Left cheek, right cheek, up top, my sweet.
There's actually no calories in this, but it's what I have, so. I also don't have a toaster here, so I'm having to cook Eggos in a waffle maker, and I'm not sure how that's gonna turn out. So there was a double yolk in one of those eggs. It's too much. All right, guys, so here's meal one. 2 Eggos done in a Belgian waffle maker, 2 whole eggs, one with double yolk, 75 grams of grapes, 2 servings of Crave cereal with a cup of milk. I'm gonna have 1 serving of these chocolate covered almonds with coffee and a water. So the first question that I want to try to answer is how much fat you can gain in a single day. And there are a few things that the answer will depend on. So the first is your starting total daily energy expenditure, where individuals with lower TDEE, or so-called slow metabolisms, will presumably find themselves in a larger net surplus and store more fat as a result. The second is your starting body composition. Lean folks tend to have less adipocytes to begin with than obese folks, who can have up to 4 times as many fat cells. So presumably leaner individuals may simply have less of a capacity to store additional triglyceride, at least over the long term. The third factor is how glycogen depleted you are. So the more depleted of glycogen you are, the less fat you'll gain, simply because more carbs will be stored as glycogen rather than as fat. The fourth factor is the macronutrient composition of the diet. A 1995 paper by Horton et al. Found that when subjects were put in a 50% caloric surplus, either purely from carbs or purely from fat, after 1 day of overfeeding, the carb-only group stored only about 10% of excess calories as fat, while the fat-only group stored about 60% of excess calories as fat. This effect leveled out over the course of the following 2 weeks, but importantly, with acute overfeeding, the higher carb diet showed significantly less fat accrual than the high fat diet. And this makes sense based on what we know from other research, which has shown that de novo lipogenesis, or the conversion of carbs to fats, is not a major route of acute fat accumulation in humans. And what does tend to happen more readily is that excess carbs over the long term tends to suppress fat oxidation, leaving more fat available for storage. And then the fifth factor that will play into how much fat you store is your predisposition for increasing levels of NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, also known as spontaneous physical activity. So things like fidgeting, just walking around more, etc. And this can vary up to tenfold from person to person. For example, a 1999 paper by Levine et al. Found that individuals eating an extra 1,000 calories per day for 8 weeks showed differences in NEAT ranging from negative 98 calories, so they actually decreased their level of spontaneous physical activity, to positive 692 calories. So this subject in particular basically burned off 70% of the increase in calories. So with these 5 factors in mind, I'm going to get back to the vlog, and I will run a simple sample calculation in the next informative segment. Okay, so that was meal 1. Oh, I should see how long it took me. So it was 11 minutes and 30 seconds. I think that's a long time. I don't know. I'm not an eater, really. 2 downsides of that meal. One was that the Eggos were way worse than they needed to be because they were hard from the Belgian waffle maker. And I put way too much maple syrup on them. Actually, I'm going to show you. So that was the maple syrup that I left. So I'm going to track that as like 1/8 of a cup. So they were just like drenched in maple syrup. So they were like simultaneously rock hard, paper thin, and drenched in syrup. So that was not the best. And then by the time I set up all the stuff to do with the filming of this, the Crave cereal had gone soggy, so 2 cups of soggy Crave cereal. What else went wrong with this meal? The eggs got soaked in syrup because I didn't put a partition between those foods of any sort, so that was actually okay. The eggs kind of tasted pretty good with a little bit of syrup on them. Other than that, everything was pretty good. I feel warm from the meal. I guess thermogenesis is increasing. I'm gonna wait probably 5 minutes and then have a few of those almonds, but it's a little bit of a shaky start. So yeah, it was only 917 calories, so I figured it would be smart for me to try to get that up at least to 1,000. So if I have 7 pieces of these. Oh, and by the way, my appetite is such that it's really low in the morning typically, and then it'll pick up throughout the day. So at night, around like midnight, I'll get voraciously hungry. That is gonna play to my advantage later on in the game, so I'll probably be like behind throughout the day until my appetite picks up. And then at night, I'm hoping to come through in the clutch and cram it all in. With the almonds, now I'm up to 1,087. It's not a terrible start, I guess. I don't know. I just had 3 mini crunch bars, and I think I'm gonna have a little bit of candy actually to finish that off while I do some work here. I think I got the idea of these from Chelsea Lift's 10,000 calorie challenge from last year, I think it was. I thought it was a very funny video, but I was motivated to buy these from her, I think. There you go. These got really sickening after a while, honestly. I think I'm gonna leave those. I'm gonna leave those for a bit later. I will eat them though, I promise. Guys, I'm just heading to University of South Florida for a little bit, just for like a change of scenery, a place for me to do some work. And that's where Stephanie's lab is, so I might check that out for a little bit. I realized that I like super overdid it with like just junky snack food, and I didn't get anything that's like substantive that I could eat in a meal. So I think I'm gonna get a firecracker chicken burger, just like 750 calories, and then couple it with some of these junk foods here. These are so easy to smash. That's like 1 bite, and it's 170 calories in that little thing. That's crazy. A couple of those. Right. So guys, I just got here at the University of South Florida, 2:23 p.m. I haven't really eaten anything since breakfast. I'm gonna go over here and get a firecracker chicken burger, I think. I'm gonna get the firecracker chicken. Yes, please. This is meal number 2, firecracker chicken burger, and this is 750 calories. Okay, so the second question I want to try to answer is approximately how much fat did I store as a result of this challenge? So let's just run a very quick, rough calculation. So I plan to take in 10,000 calories, but first we need to account for the energy that I would just expend on a normal day anyway. So my estimated total daily energy expenditure, or so-called maintenance calories, is roughly 3,000, since I'm more or less maintaining my weight at that intake. So subtracting my TDEE from the 10,000 calories leaves us with a 7,000 calorie surplus. Next, we need to account for the fact that more food coming in means there will be a greater thermic effect of food. Just for the sake of the calculation, let's assume a macro ratio of 20% protein, 40% carb, and 40% fat. Taking a weighted average for the thermic effect of each macronutrient gives us an average increase in TEF of 19%. So 19% of the 7,000 calorie surplus yields 1,300 calories lost as heat. So now we're still left with 5,700 calories available for storage. Remember in the last clip where I said that changes in NEAT can vary from -98 to +692 calories per day, with a 1,000 calorie increase in energy intake per day. I probably fall somewhere in between this range. And since I do find myself to adapt quite strongly to increasing food intake, I'm tempted to put myself closer to the high end of the range. However, it's important to keep in mind that this was a long-term study conducted over the course of 8 weeks. So it's not clear from this paper just how much NEAT would increase in only a 12-hour period, like during this challenge, for example. But based on changes in leptin, which is a key hormone involved in the regulation of NEAT, which was seen to rise only 40% in a 24-hour period compared compared to 300% over 5 weeks in one paper, it's probably best to play it a little bit more conservatively when estimating short-term NEAT increases. And so for this reason, I put myself more in the middle, around 200 calories burned for every extra 1,000 calories eaten. Let's assume again a surplus of 7,000 calories. So this would yield a net extra 1,400 calories burned just from spontaneous physical activity over the course of the challenge. So taking NEAT increases into account, we're left with 4,300 calories left for storage. And let's just simply assume that roughly 50% of this would be stored as fat, which seems reasonable since carbs and protein will contribute some, but not very much at all to fat gain, and fat made up about 40% of the diet by composition. So cutting this in half, we're left with 2,150 calories available for pure fat storage, or about 239 grams of fat, or 0.5 pounds of fat. So this was a little bit of a more convoluted way of going about estimating this. I think a simpler approach would be to simply just extrapolate the results of the paper that I mentioned earlier, where people were put in a 50% caloric surplus, either purely from carbs or purely from fat, and then it was measured how much of the extra calories were stored as fat. And as you can see from the figure, at the 1 day mark, the all carb surplus caused only roughly 10% of the caloric excess to be stored as fat, while the all fat surplus caused about 60% of the caloric excess to be stored as fat. So assuming in my case that there was roughly an even ratio of excess energy coming from carbs and fats, I think we can meet in the middle and say that 35% of the excess might be stored as fat. So again, given a caloric excess of 7,000 calories, we would just get 35% of that, which would be 2,450 calories stored as fat, or in other words, 272 grams, or 0.6 pounds of fat. So when looking at both calculations, we got a 0.5 and a 0.6 pound gain in fat. And while about half a pound of fat might not sound like a whole lot, that is definitely noticeable and significant, especially visually, when you consider just what a half a pound of fat looks like. That's it for the calculation. I will be back in the next informative segment to talk about absorption and how permanent this fat gain might be. It took me 9 minutes and 43 seconds. I don't know why this took me so long. I'm a super slow eater. Yeah, so I just finished that last meal. I just got a text from Stephanie saying that she's coming with some more food. Chicken. Damn. Thank you. Is there any like sauce? This is a lot of chicken. Holy shit. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's like, how many pieces is it?
It's a pound.
Yeah, I need it.
Missing protein. That's why I thought that.
I was, but I had the firecracker burger, so that was chicken breast.
Oh, it's.
These are actually amazingly good. Oh my god, these are seriously super good. I could literally eat like 10,000 calories worth of those. They're so good. I just added everything into my Fitness Pal. 2,832 calories eaten. Come on, focus on my fucking shit. I have 7,168 calories remaining. I have some more cereal actually, that's pretty easy for me to eat. We're gonna train shoulders and chest, or chest and shoulders push. So chest, shoulders, and triceps. I'm gonna make it like a really high volume, high rep push day so that it'll hopefully stimulate my appetite a little bit, because yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit behind as of right now. I'm gonna get a bowl of cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and this is gonna be necessary if I'm gonna hit this by the end of the night. So one serving is 37 grams. This is actually super good. I'm gonna bust some of this. Oh my god. Next time I prep for a show, I'm gonna absolutely hate myself for this video. It was so good. I feel like I could do another one of those Nutella things. I should do it.
You should totally just try to keep pounding.
I'm gonna put a tablespoon of Nutella on one of these, and I'm gonna put a tablespoon of Nutella on one of these. 37.
Oh, there's just so much hate for you right now. Is that an interesting combination?
Alright, I'm gonna wash it down with some milk.
Oh, you probably can't count those.
I know people don't like milk in these challenges, but like, I've gotta drink milk.
Are you gonna count it?
Yeah, I'm counting milk. I don't think I like, yeah.
You could dip the cookie in milk.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. There's way better toast with milk. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this one. They're 170 and they're so tiny. So they're pretty good.
I feel like they're thick though, but I guess I don't know.
Not really. Look. It's pretty thin. Like,
yeah.
That's what they layer in Nutella, you know? Pretty thin. I have the craziest pump. When I eat like a lot of sugar, I start like getting like shakes. I feel like is that normal? I feel like that's pretty cool. This is really good though.
I bet it is.
Despite feeling as full as I am, it's very good. I was gonna do this too though. It's another 18.5 grams.
Are those good? Those cookies? They're disappointing.
Very sweet.
How do you feel?
Pretty gross. That was a lot of Nutella. Just look, that was a full jar. That's not bad.
I'm sure there are people who are watching who are like, I could smash that, like
The whole jar.
Yeah.
I've seen people eat a full jar. Like this is a small jar. I've seen people.
The large ones.
I'm now at a total of 3,772 calories. All right, I'm having 2 servings of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then we're gonna go train.
Can I have a large
chicken pizza, half pepperoni, and then half with.
Okay, hold on one second.
To track though.
Can I have a large pizza with chicken? Okay, then I'll do that on half of it, and then the other half, can I do pepperoni,
bacon, and mushroom.
Bacon.
Stuffed crust? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's gonna be chicken on one side. I also like it to be stuffed crust. Oh, okay, they don't have stuffed crust.
I'm going to the gym now. It's 6:30, so I've got a large pizza coming from Domino's. That should really help because as of right now, I'm going into the workout. I've still got about 5,800 calories left to hit today. Alright guys, we just finished up with the push workout and now we're here at Domino's. This should make up a good chunk of calories. I have almost 6,000 calories left to hit and it's 8:43 p.m. So I feel like I definitely could have planned this a little bit better, but I'm gonna do the absolute best that I can and try to finish this out strong. Alright, so half pepperoni, bacon, and half with chicken. Feeling like a second wind.
It looks so good. Yeah, I do.
I'm gonna leave it off camera and pretend like I ate it all.
It's really good.
Here we go. Slice number 1. That's actually pretty good.
I could totally eat that whole pizza.
Could you?
Oh my god, yeah.
You wanna do it for me? No. See, I feel like people, I don't know, man. A lot of people say they can do this. This is way harder than it looks on camera. It's like a bad feeling, right? You're just like, I feel like your gut is gonna pop.
I have no sympathy for you.
As you shouldn't. I should probably tell myself. Okay guys, it's been actually a decent drive. How much longer till we're... So this is the damage so far. So it's actually pretty good. This is actually giving me a jump. This is like 2,500 calories in this thing. Feeling good about this pizza.
You have that slice of cake.
I don't want any more sweets. I don't want too much sweets too early. The good thing is that now the savory stuff actually tastes really good. Put that away, let it settle for like a half hour, and then try to do some ice cream or something, because I can't do any more of that pizza. That chicken pizza was not that good.
No.
That's pretty gross, man. I can't call that quite a full pizza. I'm gonna call that, 3/4. I think that's 3/4. Calling that 3/4. Okay, so fucking deal with it. Just like throw the whole ice cream thing in.
Wait, I thought you wanted to try some or eat some.
Yeah, I did want to eat some.
I would try it. Like it. Wait.
My taste buds are like so desensitized right now. So guys, we just mixed up a pint of Ben & Jerry's, tablespoon of Nutella, 3.5, I think, tablespoons of coconut oil. Oh, and maple syrup. Yeah, and maple syrup, and blended it up with ice and water. And it actually comes to 2,058 calories. Puts me at exactly 8,000 calories. I finished that shake meal, and then it felt good. The like feeling of fullness didn't start to hit me until like probably like an hour after it, honestly. I was just like feeling super full. It's a lot harder than it looks on camera. Like I've watched a few of these, and I feel like People are either more savage with their appetites than I am, or people just make it look easier for camera. I'm gonna finish off with 5 matzo sticks. So one piece is 100 calories, so on 5 is 500 calories. I'm also gonna have half of this. I'm gonna blend this up with more coconut oil. 47 grams of this, that gives me, I think, 400 calories. Some more Nutella, actually. Put this into a shake, and then that's gonna be the final meal. So in this last informative segment, I want to touch on 2 quick things that I anticipate people will ask. The first is, how much of these calories do we actually absorb? And my short answer is that there's no reason to think that you can't absorb all of it. Absorption is really only limited by the absorption rates of the transporters in the small intestine, of which there are many. And while they do have max rates at which substrates can pass through them, for example, the max uptake rate for glucose is about 60 grams per hour. Keep in mind that when massive amounts of food are consumed, digestion slows down massively as well, so that uptake can be spread out more evenly along the entire length of the small intestine. And based on this, and without any evidence suggesting the contrary, I would say that the vast majority of the 10,000 calories would be absorbed, with a few macronutrients passing through in the stool. There, of course, will eventually come a point where the body will simply reject further increases in food intake at one end or the other, and this will vary from person to person, but I hypothesize it to be at least in the ballpark range of around 10,000 calories worth of food for most. And finally, how much of the fat gain is permanent from this challenge? I think that the simple answer is none of it, or well, at least it depends on how it is you eat in the coming days. As we know, the body is in a constant state of either anabolism or catabolism, and so imposing a sufficient caloric deficit in the days following the challenge would be a very simple way to offset the fat gain. And it tends to be prolonged periods of overeating that lead to long-term fat accumulation that persists over time. So that's it for the informative stuff for this one, guys, and I really hope that you enjoy the rest of the video.
Should I keep this for you to eat more mozzarella sticks?
No.
Not tonight, obviously.
I don't even want to think about mozzarella sticks ever.
Okay.
Throw it out. So this is the final thing. This is 1,214 calories. This could be bad. Oh, it's really cold. My throat freeze. Okay. That's going to conclude the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That's really late, so I'm going to go to bed. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, if you found it entertaining at all, please hit the thumbs up button. Really appreciate that. I found this very challenging, but I'm glad that I finished it out. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Okay.